going.
Exactly. I was like, where'd that come from? But, I mean, I don't know if that's intimidation or what. But the defense is playing exceptionally well. They held the Patriots to 13 points. They've been really playing phenomenal. But they're heading to the Super Bowl now. Now they're going to play another great team in the San Francisco 49ers. And right now we're going to delve into the Super Bowl, going to delve into predictions, going to the key matchups. And both of us, tough time picking this game because me personally, I'm not a huge fan of either team. But I think both teams are fantastic defensively. Joe Flacco's playing out of his mind. Colin Kaepernick is the really sophomore sensation coming out of nowhere, replacing Alex Smith and leading his team to the promised land. Making his coach look like a genius along the way. It's a really tough game to pick, and according to ESPN, right now it's a 51% vote for Baltimore and 48% vote for San Francisco. What's going on right now? Like, who's the favorite? Who's the underdog? So it's a really tough game to pick.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, are the Ravens gonna get a pick six? Fumble recovery for a touchdown, or that's what the Ravens need to do. Mm-hmm. They need a messy game. They need those games where their defense needs to produce points for them, because maybe not as much as in previous years because Flacco has done great.
Yep.
But I still think they need something. They need, because they feed off of momentum is what they do. So when you get a sack or when you get, a 3-and-out or a pick, it helps the team a lot. More so with the Ravens, I feel. But I think that's the key to the game is the Ravens defense gonna make a big play during the game, and I think everyone's waiting on Kaepernick to mess up. I think they're like going into the playoffs. It was like, oh, how is he gonna respond to his first time in the playoffs? And obviously he's done great.
Yep.
But that's the key. I don't think Kaepernick's gonna be rattled. But it's gonna be a great matchup between this veteran Ravens team versus this quarterback who hasn't played. This is the biggest game he's ever played in.
I mean, in both teams, they come in with, pretty similar records. Baltimore had a regular season of 10-6. Actually lost their last regular season game to Cincinnati, which I thought was damning for them because losing your momentum against a division rival heading into the playoffs, I thought that was big. But then they took care of Indianapolis in the first round, 25-9. They had the great game against Denver in overtime, which was a phenomenal game to watch, even if you're not a fan of the teams. Just going nuts. It was a 38-35 overtime win. Peyton Manning can't do it again. And then they beat New England Patriots 28-13. They really crushed them in the second half. They deserved to win the game. San Francisco, on the other hand, they went down. They beat Green Bay 45-31. Colin Kaepernick ran for over 200 yards and really torched the Packers. Gave them no shot at all. Aaron Rodgers couldn't muster up enough offense for that one. And then a tough game against Atlanta where they won 28-24. Remember, Atlanta went up big in the first half. And I was really psyched because I'm a Matt Ryan fan. I was like, yeah, my boy.
I know. I really wanted the Falcons.
But again, second half, Atlanta comes out and takes care of business. So both teams are coming in on a pretty hot stretch. And the key for me is which running back's going to have a bigger game. I think it's going to be between Frank Gore and Ray Rice, two different types of runners. Because if Frank Gore can pound back the physical Ravens defense and make his presence known and make people fear running into him, it's going to get a different mindset for the San Francisco team saying, all right, we got one guy who can do this. Why can't we push the entire defense around? Because you know that Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed, and everyone on that team is going to be like, all right, we're defense. We're the Baltimore Ravens defense. No one's going to run through us. But if Frank Gore can get a big 20-yard run where he runs over a couple people, like a Marshawn Lynch run against the Saints a couple years ago, that earthquake run, if he can get something like that, that'd be huge for San Francisco.
And I think touching of what you just said is if he is successful on the run, it's going to open up Colin Kaepernick so much.
Exactly.
It's also going to relax Colin Kaepernick a little bit because he's not going to be pressed to make a play. I think that is going to be key. If you just hand it off to Frank Gore and he can get you a first down, or even if he gets you, 5 or 6 yards on a first down, it takes some of the pressure off of in the next couple downs. I don't think Kaepernick is a kid that gets rattled too much. I think he embraces a lot of the stuff that has been said about him. So, I think he's gonna. I think with Frank Gore running well, it's definitely gonna benefit Kaepernick and him being a little more relaxed to complete his throws.
And the thing that I think is really gonna help San Francisco doesn't allow over 100 yards per game. They average only letting up 94 rushing yards per game. And Ray Rice, Joe Flacco's been playing great, but it's when in tandem with Ray Rice, when you can dump it off to him for those short passes, and then Ray Rice runs for 20 yards.
Because the Ravens don't necessarily have a fundamental run game. I think they're just, unfortunately for the Ravens, and it's tough to say it when your team's in the Super Bowl, but they don't really have that much of a, like I said, a fundamental run game because they hand it off to Ray Rice, and he can only get you 1 or 2 yards. He's not your average running back. He's not your pound running back. He's your guy that you dump it off, and he'll get you 6 or 7 yards off a screen. So, but Pierce was a huge guy throughout the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
To be that guy. So I feel like if you have Pierce running like that, and you have Ray Rice to dump it off to, I think that'll also benefit the Ravens. And,
I mean, you look at Pierce and Ray Rice, the thing I think is Baltimore has to be less predictable on offense because I feel half the time it's like run on first down, get 3 yards.
Yeah, run, pass. Run, pass.
That's what it is every single time. It's been working for them.
Yeah.
But you're going up against San Francisco's defense this time.
And we touched on it last week. It's like Flacco, every friggin' drive, it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 10. That's tough to do. I don't care who you are. So you got to give Flacco credit because this might be a tough offense to kind of get a grasp of, and Flacco's done a great job, but I also think that switching offensive coordinators, risky, because you talk about the risk that that the 49ers did. Switching offensive coordinators isn't easy either. They went from Cam Cameron to Jim Caldwell, and Jim Caldwell's been fantastic. They were talking about it on Media Day yesterday, and John Harbaugh looks like a genius now because everyone thought that, why are they going to fire their offensive coordinator when they're right in the middle of a playoff race? Well, obviously they knew something.
And Ashley Fox from ESPN is now making the call. Jim Caldwell should be a head coach somewhere. If he can come in mid-season and change a team around the offense like that quickly and make Joe Flacco from a respected quarterback to now all of a sudden, maybe if he wins the Super Bowl, he is an elite quarterback.
Yeah, he also had a tough situation in Indianapolis. He goes from coaching Peyton Manning to being great for a year with Peyton, then going to try to not have Peyton.
Andrew Painter and
have Curtis.
God,
to have Curtis Painter in there, and then to fire this guy after 2 seasons. I don't know what you wanted without having the first year without having Peyton. I don't care who is in there at coach, but this guy's definitely. If you're Harbaugh, you want him as much as you want, as long as you want. But definitely, he's definitely increased his value as a head coach, and I think that. A lot of people are talking about the switch from Alex Smith to Kaepernick, but the switch from offensive coordinators has been key, especially for Flacco.
And Caldwell says he wants to coach again, and there's a quote here: "I certainly would like to be at the top of my profession. I think every coach that's in the business does want to get the opportunity to do so. I certainly love another one, but it may or may not happen." So he acknowledges the fact that he might be stuck in a rut right now because all the coaching voids were filled.
Well, I was about to say, when you have 8 coaching voids filled this season, it might, but you know what, it's always, every year there's somebody getting fired, unfortunately. It's tough.
Nature of the business.
That's just how it is. They're the head coach of the scapegoats, unfortunately, even though they're not necessarily the guys to blame. But I think, I think he'll find a job, especially if the Ravens win the Super Bowl. I think
he might stay there at the Ravens.
Yeah, exactly. So I think with Caldwell, he's been great.
All right, now it's time. We've talked about it enough. We talked about enough, and we gotta make the prediction. The game is this Sunday at 6:30. We're actually going to be in Fairfield for a women's basketball game. Before
I'm going to be booking it back.
We gotta rush back here because we're not missing opening kickoff, and
I'll be going the speed
or the
limit.
food that's going to be.
I'll be definitely going the speed limit, but
but it's time, and I'll let you off the hook, and I'll go first. Watching the San Francisco team evolve as Colin Kaepernick has been quarterback has been phenomenal. I think that he has really done a great job not getting hurt and avoiding the big contact, which is big. He's been able to reconnect with Michael Crabtree. He's been able to get Randy Moss more involved, and even Vernon Davis is getting more involved in the offense. And I think that's big because they're not focusing on one receiver, and Colin Kaepernick is just distributing the ball well. But it's this San Francisco defense. I think is going to be big because the Ravens defense, as much as you want to admit, they're a little old. They're not as quick, and I think that this Ravens defense, despite them maybe having better personal talent, like with just Ray Lewis and the Ed Reeds and the people like that, and like the Nadas, just better like personal talent, individual talent. I think that the 49ers as a total defense are a better team. Their secondary is weak. Now, I'm worried Joe Flacco. He's good at the deep ball. He may connect a couple times with Torrey Smith and Anquan Bolden. I'm worried about that. And because you saw Aaron Rodgers have a couple of deep throws against him. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones torched him. I'm worried about that. But I think their front seven is good enough. And their defensive line, my opinion, the best in the NFL, is good enough to get pressure on Flacco with just 4 and maybe 5. That's why it's the San Francisco defense that's making me pick them in the Super Bowl. I'm going to go a 27-21. I think it's going to come down to maybe the fourth quarter, and Baltimore's going to be down. Flacco's going to get them within a touchdown, but a late field goal from the very risky David Akers. Granted, that's another thing. You got a rookie NFL kicker in Baltimore, and you got David Akers who's been struggling all season. But I think that San Francisco is going to win 27-21 behind the defense. I think they're going to force at least one turnover. I don't think they're going to have any special teams mess-ups like it's cost them in the past. And I think the NFC is going to take the Super Bowl. And much like they dominated in the Pro Bowl, I think that they're going to take the Super Bowl.
All right. I think what it comes down to is that the Niners are a more complete football team. I think they're more fundamentally sound. They're more the traditional team. Mm-hmm. And if you asked me this, 3 days ago, I might have told you that I was going to pick the Ravens. But I think when it comes down to it is that, first off, as much as I really don't like the guy, Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. I think when you compare coaches, it stinks to say I love John Harbaugh, but I think his younger brother is a fantastic coach. So that alone is key. Also, you said it, the Ravens' defense, they get so much hype, and they are great at times.
At times.
But I think that they lost consistency in their defense over the years. And they are going to play behind Ray Lewis's last game, and that kind of worries me but I think that all of that built up and maybe expectation to do well, I don't know. I can't. What gets me is that it's the Ravens' unorthodox offense that does not. I don't trust them at all. Mm-hmm. I don't trust it at all.
You know who's going to show up every week.
You don't know what's going to happen. So I think the safe pick, if you're a betting man, I think the safe pick is the Niners, because we said it with Flacco. He needs a 50-yard bomb to Torrey Smith. He needs to convert a 3rd and 17 to Torrey Smith. So it's not traditional, and I really think the Niners are gonna play well. I think Frank Gore is gonna have a game. I think Crabtree is probably kissing Kaepernick's feet since he's been starter because he hasn't gotten any touches with Alex Smith. But now that Kaepernick's in, I think Crabtree is gonna have a huge game. So with that alone, just because I think the Niners are more fundamentally sound, and I am worried about the deep ball, but I really think it's the Niners' game. I'm going, I might go a little more than you. I don't think it's going to be a 6-point game. I think in the end it's going to be about 34-20. To be honest with you, yeah. Okay. I really think that I really think that the Niners are really going to take this.
So we're in agreement. That the Ravens are going to lose. 49ers are going to win. I got 27-21. You got 34-20. Is that your score?
Yeah.
All right. So both of us have the Ravens or the 49ers covering a line, which is 4. They're favored by 4. But I hope it's a good game. And the over.
Oh yeah, I hope it's not a 34-20 game. Because frankly, I'm having buffalo dip, so I want
more time to eat the food.
Exactly. And we were talking about it the other day. I mean, the Patriots are out. The Giants have been out. We were talking to our friend Steve. The Jets, of course, they're not in.
We're gonna get to them in 1 second. Something very interesting happened the other day.
I think watching this Super Bowl. Also, here's a good stat. This is the first time since 2002 that there hasn't been a Super Bowl with Brady or Roethlisberger. Brady, Roethlisberger, and there was one more. Brady, Roethlisberger.
Manning. Wasn't Manning in there?
And Peyton Manning.
That's a really good
Since
stat.
2002.
Well done. Well done.
But, it's going to be the most stress-free Super Bowl that we've watched in a while.
Oh, my
At
God.
least, the Patriots have always been in it, and I've always wanted the Patriots to lose. And then the Giants have been in it, and they've beaten the Patriots. So I've been sweating. But this is the first time in a while that this is like just a stress-free kind of enjoy the Super Bowl for us.
Just enjoy the football game.
And hopefully I know my girlfriend's gonna she's not gonna watch the game, but she'll come in for commercials. I know that's what my mom does too.
Same thing with mine. Same thing with
so
mine.
you hope the commercials are good too.
That they've been slacking the past couple years, but that's true. You hope the commercials are always good. Go over on the computer to watch them the next day. But you have our picks: 34-20 49ers for Mike, 27-21 for me. We're gonna take